Hi everyone, welcome to Break a Bolt. On today's episode, we're gonna try to retrofit the 335 brake calipers and rotors onto the E46. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do hit the subscribe button. That helps me out quite a lot. And like, comment as well. So, without further ado, let's get rolling. So if you were trying to take the brake calipers off of a 335 E90, there's two 80mm bolts holding the brake calipers. Once you take those two off from the back, your caliper comes off loose. And your brake rotors are held by an Allen 6. It's a really tiny screw, so once you take it off, your brake rotor should come off without any issues. So now that we have taken this off, let's see if it's going to fit on our E46. Okay, so here's my rear brake setup. Since I'm gonna use the M3 differential and the complete rear end of an M3, I'll be using the caliper and the rotor from an M3. So when I measured it against the 335 rotor, they're almost the same size. I'm not sure, I think it's like 328 by 20 millimeters. So I'm not gonna retrofit the rear brake caliper from 335. So I figured I'll paint the calipers since I'm already taking everything apart, but cleaning them is a pain in the PIA. Got all kinds of solvents, dissolvers, wire brush, all kinds of cleaning products I could find. And this is how it looked before I started cleaning it up. So I just put them to soak in some degreaser, hoping that it would release most of the gunk. But now, these are the set I cleaned up. So I kind of used a wire brush. You got to be careful when you're using a wire brush. You don't want to take too much surface off of it. So wire brush and a little bit of solvent works out perfectly. I cleaned the inside as much as I could, but I'm not really going to paint it. It's a lot of work. Cleaning the calipers are not easy unless you just going over it. But if you really kind of get into it, it gets really tough. I mean, it's a lot of work and patience. So yeah, these are pretty clean. I'm just gonna wipe them off with acetone and tape off the pistons and all the other rubber pieces and start prepping for paint. This is my makeshift painting setting. So I pulled a ratchet strap across two objects. I zip tied all my brake calipers on. I'm gonna use a high temp engine primer which should hold up to the heat of the brake. I'm gonna use a enamel paint with ceramic, so it's supposed to hold up for the heat. I quickly went out to a rag with acetone and cleaned it out. Let's start spraying. Make sure you wear something to protect your brake. I'm not trying to go too thick on the first coat. I'm just spraying it like almost dusting on top of it. I would recommend just going like 50% transparency on your first coat and then keep building up. So I'll probably do like a couple of primer and then I'm thinking about doing 3 coats of paint. So yeah, let's see how it goes. So, it's been a couple of days since I started doing this brake job. I had to wait till I get all the parts and pieces together. So, this is my custom hub spacer. It's a 20mm spacer off of Amazon I bought. I had to custom mill this inner ring so it would fit on top of this hub because there's a lip, if you can see it, around the hub. So that's the groove here. And I had to add another ring so it would fit So once I put it in, it's gonna mimic the same size on the hub. So I have a hub-centric ring over, so it'll fit the brake disc and without any wobbles or whatsoever. So in order to set this spacer completely flat on the hub, I gotta grind off. There's a slight groove on the edge, so I'm gonna have to grind it off, and then we should be able to get this hub perfectly seated. So let's get going. So now that I've sanded the edge around, I actually grinded the edge a little bit, sanded it around so it'll be smoother. So once I put the hub in, it actually sits flat with the wheel hub, so there's no gap in between. There's no gap between the hub and the wheel spacer. So the edge I was talking to you about, there's like a slight lip around this edge which you had to sand it down so the hub will sit flat. Regards to the measurements of the inner ring, actually the measurements of the inner groove and the outer ring, I'm gonna throw it somewhere on the screen right now. Gonna make sure I align the hub properly. There we go. This is the 335i rotor, so it actually sits perfectly on the ring, inner ring I've made. I can find a washer to fit this properly. I mean, it will be fine once I put the wheel on because there's the space and it's going to hold the lugs further back. But for the purpose of just showing you guys, I'm going to use a ratchet and use the bolt. That way it actually holds on to the hub and the rotor itself. So now let's bolt our 335i caliper. So I'm going to use the existing bolts from the 325. They're the same thread size. It's only the length of the bolt from 335i. It's a bit longer, so you could either cut it off or you could reuse the 325i bolts on the caliper. So I'm gonna just bolt in as it is. I was testing the caliper off camera and I had a moment of panic because it started rubbing on the caliper. So if you can see it, it rubbed on the inside on this edge. And so while trying to figure it out, I ended up scratching up the caliper as well. So I might have to do a touch up on that. But it's no big deal. I figured out why it wasn't doing it. So I was testing the caliper without pads just to see the clearance. And what happens is when you have the pad, the spring pushes this part away from the mounting points. So since I don't have any pads, the spring or the bracket is pushed all the way in, so it wasn't giving enough clearance for the caliper. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw my old pads and see if it's gonna help. I got the brake pads on, so right now my calipers ain't as pretty as it used to be. Kind of scraped out a lot of paint while doing it, so I might have to do another touch-up. So let's try it on and see if it fits now. Okay, we got a caliper on, and you can actually rotate the wheel without any rubbing whatsoever. So that's nice. Yeah, there's no rubbing. Like, I can freely rotate the what do you call it, the whole hub assembly, or whatever, without any. It's not touching anywhere in the caliper whatsoever. And let me try to show you guys a closer look. If I could get more light. Unfortunately, I don't have a light yet. But I don't know if you can see. The pads are right around the edge where the stock edge of the pad would be. And there's plenty of clearance on this side. And on the bottom, there's plenty of clearance. There's no grinding, touching whatsoever. And if you can see the back. The amount of clearance it has, I'm using the stock bolts from the 325i to mount the caliper. And yeah, so I do. This has a little bit of scuffing from me trying to test fit it. Probably just do like another coat of paint when I actually put the new brake sets, the brake pads on. Let's test it with the wheel. It's going to be a bit tricky to put the wheel on because I have nothing to hold the hub. Maybe eventually I'll find a bolt which is the stock size but longer. But since I have the caliper on, it's a bit easier. Okay. I might add another hub-centric ring inside here. There's a slightly smaller lip to hold the wheel, but I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll just get another hub-centric ring from the inside to give me a better, like an extended lip for the wheel to hold on. But I'm still in testing phase, so. There you go. I don't remember the offset of these wheels. These are the stock Curva 18s. It clears the caliper from both ends. So if you're planning on using 18-inch wheels, you should be able to use this caliper without any problem. 17s would be a problem. I'm not sure. I don't have any set of 17s to test. But for sure, you could put some 18s on here. Yeah. That's about it. So we got a rolling set of 335 calipers on a E46 3 series. It looks pretty good too. Alright, so I'm done with the 335i brake conversion on E46. It's starting to rain, so I better finish this real quick. So this should be the same for a sedan, wagon, or a coupe, I think. I'm not sure. On an M3 it might be different because I think M3 and ZHP has different diameters. I'm not sure. I think M3 and ZHP 330 has different hub. I might be wrong. Correct me if I am. So, if you're wondering if it's going to fit, yes, it's going to fit without much modification. One of my major concerns was having enough braking power with the N54 swap. But now that I have this 335 front caliper, I'm a bit happy with it. So I have a bigger diameter brakes, and calipers to go with it, instead of spending like a couple of $1,000s on getting an actual big brake kit. This is a low cost option. For me, it costed about $150 just to get the adapters done and cut. It's because of quite a bit of trial and error, so I had to go back and forth with the machine shop to get it perfectly fine-tuned. But for you guys, you could just go get set up adapters for like $40 or $50 and then get it machined for another $50. I got the calipers and rotors from the donor car, so not much. But if you're trying to buy the front calipers, I'm pretty sure you can get it for like a couple of $100 without a problem. There are so many of those that are floating around eBay and everywhere. Under $500, you'll have a complete set of pads, rotors, and calipers for your E46. What else? Oh, brake bias. I haven't done the calculation on brake bias yet. I'm not good at math, and I don't really know how to do it. I'll probably have to research it. But if you are good at it, and if you already have done it, I would love to see the difference, if there is any. I'm using 335i calipers and rotors, so I'm pretty sure you could get the size of the piston and everything online. And I'm using E46 M3 rear calipers and rotors on the back. And what else do you need? I'm using a stock 325i master cylinder, and the weight of the car is going to be a same as 325i wagon's weight. It might be less or more, I don't know yet. I haven't weighed the car yet, but it would be a good base setup to look into. If you know how to calculate the brake bias, I would really love to know it. Put it on the comments or something, just let me know what's the difference between stock and currently modified situation. Things I would like to change on this setup is doing a stud conversion. So with this current setup, if you try to do an emergency wheel swap, or if you had a flat somewhere on the freeway, it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's going to be a pain to change the wheel. So once I do the stud conversion, it should hold the adapter and the rotors in place, so I don't have to mess around with trying to find the proper hole for the bolt like this. I had to struggle. And the other thing is to get a hub-centric ring, extended ring for the wheel. So there is a slight lip from the existing hub, but I don't think it's long enough for it to hold. So I would either look online to find one. If not, I'll just make a custom one like I did for the rotors. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, disclaimer. If you're doing this job, do it on your own discretion, because brakes are something not to be messed with if you don't know what you're doing. You gotta be really careful with it. That's one important component of the car. So if you're doing, keep in mind what you're doing and do your own research. But for others who are wondering if this setup is going to work, it's gonna work. Performance benefits, I do not know yet. My car is not running, so I cannot do a test to see how well they work. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I got a set of Garagistic steel braided brake lines. I just tested the thread, it fits properly. I'm gonna start looking for 335i front lines. If I cannot find it, I'm gonna use E46. So if you're wondering, it works. This is a 335i. It has about, half an inch of thread, and where the E46 has only 3/4 of thread. So I don't think it should be a problem, but I'm gonna look for 335i just for sake of to keep myself happy. Yeah, other than that, if you like the video, comment, share, and like. That helps out to spread the word, because I need quite a bit of support to finish this project. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to help out as much as I can. We're done on this episode. It took me, 3 weeks to get this whole thing done. I hope it helps you out if you're planning on doing it. This is, in my opinion, a cheaper big brake kit setup for E46. I do not know yet if it's gonna make any performance benefits, but I know for a fact it's gonna dissipate heat better than the current setup, and it's gonna work for me with the N54. Yeah, that's about it. We're done for the day. So like, comment, and share, all the good stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Keep breaking bolts.